Before heading to the video, if you haven't subscribed the channel, do subscribe it and don't forget to click the bell icon for the latest update notification. If you like the video, do like, comment and share. Stay tuned with learnbay.co. Happy learning!
So we have the string data type.
Abhishek,
Yes.
is there any memory allocated for none?
Is there any memory allocated for? None. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see that. Yes, it is. None is also a data type, right? Though it is representing the missing value, but it is a data type. So it stores the memory. So if you want to check, you can write here import sys, and you may get sys dot get size of a. Okay. So it is taking 16 bytes of memory. Okay. Fine.
Okay.
Okay, now we have string data types in Python. So what is the string data type? So string, what is a string? We have seen this string later. So any value kept inside single quotation, double quotation, triple quotation, made up of single quotation, or triple quotation made up of double quotation. Okay, that is called a string data type. Okay, and we have also seen that in which all cases we can use the single quotation, double quotation, or triple quotation. Let's say if you have a string, this is Python class. Okay, let's say you want here apostrophe s to be considered as a character. You want this whole thing to be printed. If you are printing a, if you are printing a, then this whole thing should be printed, right? This apostrophe s should also be taken as a character. If you will print this, it will give you the error. Why? Because how this pvm is interpreting this whole string is that your string is starting here and ending here. Okay, so whenever you are writing a string, so whichever quotation you are using in the beginning, same quotation should be used to end this string. So how the Python will interpret that your string is ending here? So this particular part is not defined. Okay, so it will give you the error. Instead of that, if you want this apostrophe to be considered as a character, then one option you have that you can use a case sequence, that is the backslash character. Now if you'll print a, then it will be printing this apostrophe s as a character. But let's say if you have multiple apostrophe, or single quotation in your string as a character, then managing this or maintaining this backslash is quite a cumbersome process. So what we'll do, so instead of putting this into the single quotation, since we have a single quotation as the character, we can keep it into the double quotation. Now if you'll be executing it, so now it will be printed, and this apostrophe s you are getting, it will be considering this apostrophe s as a character. Now similarly, let's say if you have double quotation, let's say you have double quotation here, then you cannot keep your string into the double quotation. It will give you the same error. So now if you will be executing it, it is the error, right? So now you cannot keep it into the double quotation, so you can now keep it into the single quotation. We have seen that one also, right? Now this will be correct. Similarly, let's say if you have single and double quotation both, right? So let's say you have this single quotation, this is the thing, and Java. So this is single quotation and double quotation both. So now you can neither keep your whole string into the single quotation nor into the double quotation. So now what we need to do, so now we need to select this, and we can keep it into the triple quotation made up of single quote, or triple quotation made up of double quote. Now if you'll be executing it, then this single quotation and double quotation both will be considered as a string character. Okay, so this is the use of single quotation, double quotation, or triple quotation. One use you can say. Okay, now the second use you can say, the use of triple quotation is triple quotation is used to write multi-line string. Okay, so when you are saying triple quotation is used to write multi-line string, so is it like we cannot write the multi-line strings using single quotation? No. So for example, let's say if you have a is equal to, you have a multi-line string. So what is multi-line string in Python? So multi-line string is something with a new line character in Python, okay, or in programming language. Multi-line string is with a you can say yeah. Um, correct? But this is a single line string. Now if you see here, this string is going ahead out of this box, right? So if you want to what you want, that you want to split into the multiple lines. Okay, so wherever the sentence is ending, I'll split it here, and then there is more, and so here also I'll split, then there is one more dot. Okay, so this is a multi-line string. Okay, so your string is starting here and ending here. We have kept the quotation here at the end. But if you see, this is not accepting it as a string. If you try to print a, it will give you the error. Why? Because using single quotation, you cannot write multi-line string object. Okay, this will give you the error. Similarly, you cannot use the double quotation also, okay, for the multi-line string. If you'll try to do that, that will also give you the error. Okay, but you can use triple quotation to create a multi-line string. Okay, you can use triple quotation to create a multi-line string. Now it is considered as a string. Now if you'll print a, it will be printing it in a multi-line string format. Okay, so triple quotation is also used to write the multi-line string. Is that clear, everyone? Okay, so now let's come to the string properties. Okay, so what are properties we have of the strings? So strings is basically a kind of data which is used a lot while writing the program. So we use the strings a lot. Okay, now so there are so first of all, let's see what is the properties. So the first property we have is string is a sequence. Okay, whenever any data type you define as a sequence, or you say it is a sequence, then there are few things which will always hold true. Now what are those things? So it is an ordered collection of elements. Okay, now when you say it is an ordered collection of elements, so what is the order? So it will be either in the increasing order of positive index from left to right. Okay, it will be in the increasing order of positive index from left to right, or it will be in the increasing order of negative index from right to left. Okay, so when you are saying it is in the increasing order of negative index from right to left, so let's see what is first indexing. So if it is a sequence, okay, any data type which is a sequence, it allows some basic operations. So basic operations which are possible in the case of any sequence is, one is indexing. What is indexing? So indexing is accessing single element. Okay, indexing is accessing single element. Okay, next you have slicing. So slicing is accessing multiple elements. Okay, next you have membership operation, or let's say you have concatenation. So concatenation is combination of two or more strings using plus operator. Okay, so when you use a plus operator on this string, that is called the concatenation operation, not the addition operation. Similarly, you have a repetition operation. So repetition operation is a repetition of a string repetition of a string for more than one time. Okay, and we use the star operator here. Okay, so if you use star operator, multiplication sign with the string, that is, or the sequence, then that is called the repetition operation. Then we have membership operation, which we have already checked yesterday. Membership operator. So to check whether an element or group of elements are part of sequence or not. Okay, next we have identity operator. So identity operator is basically to check whether both the objects are sharing the same ID. Okay, so this is what the basic operations we have. These all operations are applicable in the case of all the sequence types. Okay, we'll be performing this operation on this thing, and then probably indexing and this operation I'll not discuss again on the different, I may not discuss on the different sequence, because syntax will remain same, everything will remain same. Okay, so these all are the basic operations. So whenever you say it is a sequence, it will be an ordered collection, and these all operations are allowed. Now when you say positive indexing, so positive indexing always starts from 0 from left hand side. Okay, and negative indexing always starts from -1 and from right hand side. Okay, fine. So these all are the different properties we have of a string, and let's start with the indexing. Okay, so the basic operation we are going to learn now. So let's say we have okay, so there is one more operation, that is len operation. Len returns length of the string or total number of characters in the string. Okay, fine. So this is the different functions we have here. Now let's continue. Let's start with the basic operations on this string. Okay, so the first operation we are going to learn is indexing. Now what is indexing? So we use the square bracket notation for that. Okay, now what is the square bracket notation? This syntax says that you should use string name and then the square bracket, and here you should write the index that will return the value. Returns the value at specified index. Okay, for example, let's say you have a string my_str is equal to let's say this is this string, right? This is this string we have, and okay, now what exactly we want to do? So first let's find the length of the string. Okay, so the length of this string is print string or number of characters in the string is len of my_str. This will give you the total number of characters inside this string. Okay, so let's execute this. This is the total number of characters, total 170 characters we have in this string. Okay, now if you will try to find the total, let me remove this. Okay, so execute this. Now you have 168 characters. Why? Because I have removed a space and a dot character, so there are total 168 characters inside this string. Okay, now so we know one thing, that positive indexing always starts from 0 from left hand side. So this string is starting from here and the index of this string is 0. So can anyone tell me what will be the index of this k?
167.
167, one less than that, because it is starting from 0 and it is ending here, so this will be one less than that. Okay, so let's say if I want to access the last element, okay, what all options we have? First of all, I can say my underscore str of, I can say 167. Okay, this will give me the last element. Or we also know that last element is by default at index -1. This will also give me last element. And I can also say print my underscore str of, this will be length of my underscore str, and this will be -1. Can I say that? All three are going to give me the same thing, k. Clear, everyone? So this is how you can access the last element. Let's say how we can access the first element. First element. So to access the first element will be at 0th index, right? This is at 0th index. Now this, I can also say that it will be at the length of the my string. So can anyone tell me what will be the negative index of this?
-168.
-168. So can I write here -168? Why? Because see, total characters are 168, and if you'll take it from right hand side, it is starting from -1, not from 0. So total, if it is 168, so this first character from right to left, it will be -168, right? So we have written -168. What I should write here? Can I write here minus? Now let's execute it. Let's see whether it is giving the first character. Execute it. You are getting the first character. Clear? So this is how you can access the first element. And now you can also do this way. Means accessing some random element, accessing the element at index 50. Okay, so how we can do that? We can write print my underscore str of 50. If you write 50, this will be giving you the value at this index t. Okay, you can count. This will find, you will find this value. Okay, everyone.
It should be 49, right?
At index 50.
And okay.
At index 50.
Okay.
Okay. Clear, everyone? Any question? So you can access only one element in the case of indexing. Okay. Now, how we can access the multiple element? Okay. So accessing the multiple elements in the string. So for that you have slicing. Okay. And what is the syntax of the slicing? So syntax of this slicing is my underscore str. We use this square bracket notation again here, and we use three arguments: start colon, stop colon, step. Okay, fine. All these three arguments you need to pass. Okay, so this is one way of doing that. And the another syntax for the same slicing is my underscore str, and you can pass only the stop value. Both the ways can be used to get the sliced object. Okay, now slicing means what? Let's say if I want to slice this part out of this string. Okay, now I'll be taking one my underscore str, one small string, so that we can slice it. So this is Python class. Okay, now let's say if I'll take print len of my underscore str, the total length is 20. Clear? The total length is 20. Fine. It means there are total 20 characters inside this string. So I want to slice this Python from here. How can I do that? So there are different ways. First of all, let's say if you will, let's see a few concepts related to the slicing. So first one is, okay, so if you will pass only one argument, then that will be considered as stop value. Okay, and default value of start is 0. Not this way. One minute. So default value of start is 0, and if you take default value of step is 1. Okay, now let's understand step. What is step? So there is a step size. Let's say, how do you want to slice the string? You want all the characters, like you want T, H, I, S, or you want the alternate character T, then I, then space, then S, then P, and so on. Or you want every third character T, then F, then S, then Y, then O, and so on. So how do you want that? So that you can control using step, and also whether you want from left to right or right to left. Okay, so you want it in the forward direction or it in the backward direction. So slicing in forward direction will be step will be positive. Okay, forward direction, what is forward direction? So forward direction means left to right. Okay, and if you say slicing in the backward direction, so backward direction is basically right to left. Okay, and in that case step will be negative. By default step is +1, right? So if you want to be in the backward direction, you have to mention step as negative. Okay, now step can also be, step size can be 1 or -1 or 2, -2, 3, -3, 4, -4, anything. It can be anything. Okay, so if you will take, if this step is +1 or -1, accordingly it will be doing it in the forward or backward direction. But let's say if it is 1, then it will slice every character. Okay, if it is 2, then it will slice every second character. Okay, if it is 3, then it will slice every third character. Okay, and so on. Fine. So this way you can slice it. Okay, now let's see this slicing. Okay, what do I want? I am going to slice slicing till Python. Okay, so what I should write? I will be writing my_str till Python from beginning. Okay, now what I'll be writing? So I can mention the stop value. Okay, so I want to slice till Python. Okay, now in that case you should start counting from here. So the count of n will come till 13. Okay, so your step value should always be 1 extra than the index till where you want to slice. You want to slice till n. What is the index of n? It is 13. You have to give 1 index extra. Indirectly you can write 14. Okay, count this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. 13 is the index of n, but we are giving 14. Why? Whatever index you will mention as a stop value, it will slice till 1 less than that index. So it will slice, I'm giving the index of this space, it will slice till n. So let's run this. You are getting my_str. What happened? Sorry, this one. Okay, so you have to mention the column. So we are getting till Python. Now if you see here, default value of start is taken as 0. So it is slicing from here. Have I mentioned whether I want to slice from here or from here or from here? No, I have not mentioned. So by default it is slicing from T, capital T, which is nothing but it is starting from 0. And by default step value is also taken +1 because it is taking every character in the forward direction, right? Now let's say if I want to slice only Python, then what I should do? So I'll be writing print my_str and this square bracket. So I want to slice from P, right? So start is inclusive. So I'll be writing index of P, which is this 8. Count is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I want to go till n. So I will give 13 + 1, which is 14. So if I slice this, I'll be getting Python. Clear, everyone? Fine. Now, so tell me what this will give. Print my_str of colon. What this will give?
Entire
Complete line.
Entire this is Python class.
Complete string, right? It will give you the complete string. So slicing the whole string. Okay. So you can write either this way, it will give you the whole string, or you can write this way also. You can mention you want to slice till 0. You want to go till the length of the my_str, and then this is 1. So you can mention every value. This will also work, but it is not required. No, if you are by default, what is this default value of start? It is 0. Default value of step is 1, and default value of stop is length of the string. Okay, fine. Now also you can give any number here. For example, my_str and colon, you can give 100. Though the length of the string is not 100, means there are not 100 characters, but still it will slice the whole string. Okay, so if you give the index here which is greater than the length of this index of this string, then still it will be slicing the whole string. Okay, it will not give you the error. Remember this. Okay, fine. Now let's say, what if I'm going to slice, let's say what this will give, print my_str colon -1. What this will give? What this will give? Anyone?
in a reverse way.
It will, yeah, in the reverse way.
Yes, it will be giving you the same string in the reverse
Yes.
order, right? So let's execute it. If you'll be executing it, it is giving you the same string in the reverse order. Now the same thing, so slicing this string. So here I could have given this one also. Print my_str. I want to slice from where? I want to slice from -1, means this location S, right? I want to go till what? T. So I will mention here minus of length of my_str plus 1. Okay, and then colon -1. I want to do it in the reverse order, so I'll be taking -1. Okay, so
You don't need to plus that value actually, because the index will be the same. The last index will be the same of the length. So we don't need to add +1 over there.
where one minute.
The stop
Length,
one.
हाँ,
Only
One
length my string is required because it
minus length of the string is will be enough.
Understood. 1 minute. 1 2 1 2, and this is this. Okay, I'm getting this string in the reverse order, right? This whole string. Now you are saying that if I will not give this, then let's see the output. What you are getting? You are not getting P.
Same.
Okay.
Oh,
Fine.
okay. Slicing will take one less, right?
Yes,
Okay,
that's
yeah.
what.
Got it.
Okay. So
Abhishek,
you have to add 1 here. Okay.
Abhishek,
Or you can add 10 also, 20 also. There is no problem. Yes.
yeah. So is there any way we can give start value greater than stop value?
Yeah, you can do that. For example, so let's slice Python in the reverse order. Python in the reverse order. Let's do that. So print, if I'm writing my_str. Okay. So tell me, I want this Python in the reverse order. What should I do?
So first we have to mention that index of n.
Index of n is what? -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, right? So this should be -7. Okay. Colon. I want to go till P. -8, -9, -10, -11, -12. This is -13, right? So -13. Okay. And I want to do it in the reverse order, -1. Correct. I'm getting the Python in the reverse order. The same thing if you wanted to do using positive index. So what you will write here? So you want to slice from n. Here you will be writing 13. Here you are going to write till you want to slice till P, right? You will be giving the index of this space. So 7.
8.
7.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. You want to come till P, right? So you will be giving one index extra. You are coming from this order, so one index extra will be coming here. Okay, fine, clear everyone?
Yes, Abhishek. Abhishek, does this work on multi-line string?
Yes, it works on
Slicing.
multi-line string also.
Can you just check one example? Like I want to understand. Yeah, triple quotation.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So what do you want to slice?
Try the first one, print length my string and slicing till Python from beginning.
Okay, so not this way. Let's do one thing, my underscore str and my underscore str1. Okay, now let's do this. Length of my underscore str, control C, control C. This will be my str1. Okay, execute this. So you have 21 character in this, you have 20 character in this. Okay, why? So if here you see there is a backslash n character, I'm printing it. So new line is a backslash n character. Okay, that is considered as one character. So because of that new line inside this multi-line string, it is coming one character extra. Okay.
Okay.
Fine. So now if you'll be slicing, then you have to consider that backslash n as the character. Okay. So let's say if you are writing it here, if you want to slice till P. Okay. So generally what you will count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then space is 7, and then P is 8, right? Correct. So if you will write my underscore str, print my underscore str of colon, I want to include 8 here, right? So I'll be writing 9. If I'll be writing 9, then I'm getting only this is, I'm not getting P. I'm getting this is space, I'm not getting P. I wanted to include P, but I didn't get that P. Why? Because see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, space is 7, and backslash n is 8 character. So it has sliced till n minus 1, 8. So that backslash n is included. That's why you can see there is a new line at the end. Okay, here in the output. So if you want to include P also, then that backslash is at 9. This is at 10. You have to give 11. Okay, 10. Sorry. Fine. So now it will be including P.
Okay, so the output is also in 2 lines.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, output will come in 2 line because it is a multi-line string.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, guys? Any question?
Abhishek, in Python, do we have a concept of immutability for string?
It's are immutable, so you can mention it here. String is modify this string. Okay, fine. So I'll be coming to that. I hope indexing is clear to everyone. Slicing is clear. Any question till here?
Abhishek, in case of indexing, so how we can find from the character to the index? So like this is.
No, character to the index is a different thing. That is the method. We will be learning that later. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Character to index will come there later. Indexing is using index you can access the value. That is what the indexing. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Anything else?
Abhishek,
Yes.
line number 104, I am not understand it. 105, 13.
104, this one. 105. Okay. So you want to slice this Python in the reverse order. So if you want to slice this Python in the reverse order, then you want to slice from n till p. This is what the reverse order. So you want to start from n. So what is the positive index of n? Positive index of n is 13. So you have to give that in the start position. You want to slice till p. So you want to include p. So you will be giving the one character extra. So you will give the index of this space. Given the index of this space, which is 7, and I want to do it in the reverse order. So step is -1. Okay. Now, so let's say if
Can
you
we
want
reverse
to,
the words? Can we reverse the sentence will remain same, but the words are reversed? Can we do that?
yes, you can do that. Do it. Do it and send me the code. Okay. That is the upcoming part. Wait till there. Now, what we are going to do? Slice every second character. Okay. So how we can do that? We will be writing my underscore str colon 2. So that will be slicing the every second character. Okay. Every second character. Starting from 0, it is going to slice from every second character. What is this? I have taken my underscore str1. So if you see here, we are starting from capital T, okay, and then the second character is I, then space, and then S again. So T, I, space, S, and so on. Let's say if I want to slice every third character, then what I will be doing? I'll be writing T. It will be slicing every third character starting from the beginning. If you want to slice, let's say from 8 till 13, you want to slice every third character, then you will be mentioning start and stop value, and accordingly in that range, it will be slicing the every third value. Okay. Now let's say if I want to slice every second character in reverse order. Okay. So I'll be writing print my underscore str1, and I want to do it in the reverse order. So I'll be writing colon -2. Okay. So this will slice it in reverse order. Okay. So the first character we have is S, then we have A, then we have C. So S, A, C we are getting, and then space N, then H, and then Y, and so on. This is what we are having. Clear? So this is where you can slice every second character, third character. So this is all about slicing. There is a practice, questions are available. Go ahead and practice that. Okay. Now, next we have the concatenation, repetition, membership, identity operator. Identity operator. Okay. What is the concatenation operation? So concatenation, when you are doing the concatenation operation on the string, okay, remember both the operands should be of string type. Okay, one thing. Next thing, we use plus operator for concatenation. We use plus operator for the concatenation. Okay. And both the operands should be of string type. Concatenation is not possible okay. For example, let's say we have my str1, my underscore str1 plus I'm having another string at learn base. Okay, so this is my str1 is one string and this is another string. If I'll be concatenating it, so this string will be joined together. Okay, fine. So this string is joined together, so we can use plus operator for this. But let's say if you will try to concatenate it with a different data type, for example, let's say 10 number, it will be giving you the number. You can only concatenate string to string, not int. Okay, unless if you'll try to do it with a float, not possible. cannot even do it with a sequence also. List is a sequence type. If you try to do this concatenation with a list, this is also going to give you the error. String to string is only possible. Okay, so the concatenation was only between the same data type. Okay, similarly, we have the repetition operation. So in the case of repetition operation, we are going to repetition on this thing, both the operands. So one of the operand should be of string type and other should be integer type. Okay, only integer type. We use star operator for this, and repetition is not possible. Repetition is not possible if like, okay, so remove this. This is not required. So you can understand from here that it should be string type and another should be integer. If you take float and complex also, it will not work. For example, let's say we want to repeat my underscore str1. Let's say I want to repeat it 3 times, so I'll be writing 3. It will be working like this. Okay, but let's say if I'll be writing my underscore 3.0, so it is going to give you the error, can't multiply sequence by non-int of type float. Okay, it will work only with the integer type. Okay, this is the repetition operation. Next, we have the membership operation. Now, membership operation we have seen already, in and not in operators we have, right? These all are the 2 operators used basically to check, whether the elements or group of elements are part of the sequence or not. For example, let's say we have my underscore str1 and my underscore str1. I want to check whether capital P is available in my underscore str1 or not. So I'll be writing capital P in my underscore str1. It will be giving me true. Why? Because yes, it is available. So it will be giving me true. Okay. If I'll be writing not in, so it will be giving me false. So it will be giving me not in. This will be giving me false. Okay, because it is available. Same thing if I'll be checking with small p. So this is going to give me true. Why? Because small p is not available. Okay. Now you can check with a single character. You can check with the multiple character. Let's say you may write Python is available inside the my underscore str1. So yes, it is available. It is going to give you true. Okay. But let's say if you'll be writing Python with this small p, this will be not be accepted. Okay. This is going to give you false. And let's say if you'll be writing capital P and small n, these both the characters are available. Capital P and n is available as Python, but it is still giving me false. Why? Because they are not existing together. So all these values will be true and false. So this is about the membership operation on this string. Now identity operation. So we have seen that only 2 operators, is and is not. These are true if both if both operands are sharing same ID. Else returns false. Okay. For example, let's say print. If I'm writing my str1 we have, right? Let me do this way. My underscore str is equal to, this is Python class, right? Now, if I'll check my underscore str is my underscore str1, this is going to give me true. Why? Because both are going to share the same ID. So there is some mistake. This is Python class, my underscore str. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So this is giving me false. Can anyone tell me why it is giving me false? And let's say if you have s1 is equal to Python and s2 is equal to Python, will it be true or false if I write print s1 is s2? True or false?
This will be true, I think.
True. This is true. Okay, Python and Python. But this is false. This is Python class, and this is also we have same. This is Python class. Okay. If you're thinking that it is in the single quotations, no, not because of that. So this is a space character, and we don't have the object usability for this space character. If you remember, yesterday we discussed the object usability concept. In that we have capital A to Z, small a to Z, 0 to 9, and underscore only. Okay. So let's say if you will have a underscore between them. Instead of a space character, if you are having the underscore. Okay, execute it. Now you are getting. Okay, but if you will have a space character, it will give me false. Clear, everyone? So space character does not follow the object usability concept in this string. Is that clear?
Yes, Abhishek.
Okay. So now, so this is about the different basic operations we have seen on this string, right? Now let's come to the method related to this string. Okay. So the methods related to this string we are going to discuss. First of all, we will be checking what all methods we have on this string. So we have a dir method, which is a built-in method, which you can use to find the method related to any string. List of methods you'll be getting. So I'm getting the methods on this string. So dir str, this will give you this list. Inside this list, you can find two types of methods. Few methods which are preceded and succeeded by double underscore. These methods are built-in methods. We are not going to discuss about them. And there are few methods which are normal method, and we are more interested in these methods. So we are going to discuss these methods. Okay. So these all are the methods which we are going to discuss in our class. Okay. Now, so inside this method also, we are not going to discuss all these methods because all these methods are not, that much important. So the kind of important methods we will be discussing in the class. Rest all method I will be giving you. I will be leaving it upon you. You can go ahead and do the experiment on them, check on them, and also I'll be giving you tricks that how you can check in the Jupyter notebook only that what is the definition of that particular method. Okay. So now we are going to learn this method. So let's start with them. So I hope till here anyone having any question? String data type. It's clear, right? So now let's start with the method. The methods that we are going to discuss is capitalize, case fold, two methods, and then we have ends with and starts with. That will I'll come later. That's lower. Then we have swap case title. Then we have upper. And then we have starts with and ends with. Okay, so these all are the method we are going to discuss in the first batch. So let's start with this capitalize method. Okay, so capitalize method basically used to capitalize the first character of the string. Okay, fine. Now, for example, let's say if we have a string my underscore str is equal to this is the string. Capitalize. Now, if you'll be executing this, so this is going to give you, you'll see that this T was small, but now it has become small. So it will always capitalize the first character of the whole string. Okay, only the first character. Okay. Now, this string is immutable object, right? So we have discussed this one, we have written this one. String is immutable, right? So when you are saying string is immutable, what does it mean? So before the method, let's discuss this one. So data types are of two types. One is mutable data type. So let's discuss this here. One is mutable data type and one is immutable data type. Okay. What all mutable data types we have? So the mutable data types we have is list, and then we have byte, then we have dictionary, byte array. not byte. Then we have dictionary, then we have set. Okay, so these all are the mutable data type. What else? List, byte array, dictionary, set. Rest all are immutable. When you are saying mutable, what does it mean? It means you can modify it. Okay, modifiable basically. Okay, and if you are saying immutable, that means it is not modifiable. Fine. Now, when you are saying it is modifiable, means changes you will make will be done on the same object. Okay, whereas in this case, changes you will make it will create a new object. Okay, it will create a new object. Fine. So this is about mutable and immutable objects. Now let's see what exactly happens. How you can check mutability? So to check mutability, you may check two things. One is assignment operation is possible or not. Okay, assignment operation is possible or not. And second thing is whatever method you will apply. Okay, so if it is mutable object, okay, so whatever changes you will make, it will create, it will make those changes into the existing object only. It means the ID before the changes and after the changes will remain same. These both things you can check, and if both are true, then you can say that is the mutable, means modifiable, and false, then immutable. Let's see. We have a list. LST is equal to anything which is kept inside the square bracket, that is a list. So I'm taking a set of numbers 10, 20, and 30. Okay, this is a list. Now let's see if I'm checking ID of LST before the operation. Clear? So let me write here before the changes. Clear? Now here I'll be writing after the changes. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the assignment operation. So LST of 0, I'll be writing is equal to 100. Now let's execute it. So let's print also ID of LST comma LST. Okay, now you see before the changes the ID was 45416 10 20 30. After the changes, value is 100, which is changed, and the ID is same 45416. So you have assigned one value at G0 index. This is item assignment, and this is possible. Okay, now let's say you will take a string. Okay, so we have a string S is equal to, let's say we are taking Python. If you will try to do this assignment operation, so S of 0 is equal to J. Okay, so if you will try to do this operation, it will give you the error that assignment operation is not allowed. String object does not support item assignment because it is immutable. Similarly, you can check it on a tuple and other immutable objects. Okay, fine. Clear? Now let's see with respect to the method. Let's say we have a list. Okay, and before the changes is this, and this is using assignment, using assignment operation. Okay, now let's say we have lst dot append and we are adding 1000. Okay, so let's see after the changes what is the ID, and before the changes what is the ID. If you are doing this, so before the changes 67080, it was 10 20 30. After the changes 67080 and 100 is appended at the end. Append is a method which adds the value at the end in the list. Okay, so in the case of making any changes on the list object, it is making the changes on the same object, isn't it? So this is mutable. Okay, now let's come to the string. This is the string. Now this is using using assignment operation. Okay, now let's come to the using method. Okay. Now let's say if you are writing f dot replace. Okay. I want to replace, if you check the values, so this is old and new, right? So I want to replace capital P with capital J, right? Now let's execute it. So if you will be executing this, so it will give you a new string object. So what I need to do here, let me check the ID before the changes, ID of S, and this is going to be S. And similarly, after the changes, this is after the changes, and this is ID of S and comma S. Okay. Now let's execute it. So if you see, before the changes, the ID was, it has not been done. Yeah. So let's write S1 is equal to this. Okay. Now, if you see, after the changes, ID of S1, and this is also S1. Now that will be clear. So before the changes, ID of S is what? 9256. The value was Python. After the changes, the ID of S is what? 9256, and string is similar. Means after the changes, string, the original string has not changed. Rather, it has created a new string, okay, which I have assigned to S1. And if I'm checking the ID of S1, that is different, 60T20, and the value also changed that 0th index. Clear? Or P is replaced with J. Clear, everyone? So this is clear, right? So what you have done, first of all, assignment operation is not possible in the case of immutable object. Second thing, ID before the changes and after the changes will remain same in the case of mutable object, but in this case, it is creating a new object itself after applying any method. So the ID of the new object will remain different, right? So ID of the S1 is different. Clear? So this is about
can't we replace in S itself, Abhishek?
Where?
Hello.
Where?
Can't we replace?
Yes, where you want to replace?
In a string S itself.
No.
Now we are assigning it to S1.
No. So that is not possible. Instead of that, see, if you want to make it like, S is equal to Jython, then you can do this way. S is equal to Jython. But this is a different assignment at all, right? This is the different assignment. Now S is pointing to Jython, but this is a different assignment. Still the ID, let's say if you check the ID of S here, print ID of S. So this is one ID, and if you check the ID of S, then this will be the different ID. Okay. Why? Because you are doing the different assignment, and this is a new string object, so it will create a new ID. Okay.
Okay.
So you cannot replace it in the same string. Why? Because immutable objects never replaces anything into the same object. It will create always a new object.
Okay.
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 Abhishek, I have a question. Let's say if I, in case of list, if I do LST1 equal to LST, and then, then in that case, because they are pointing to the same, will they be pointing to the same IDs? First of all,
that is the concept of shallow copy and deep copy. I'll be coming to that part later. Okay. When we will go to the list. Fine. Not now. Okay. So now I hope this is clear. What is mutable and what is immutable? Now, so why I discuss this point, because any operation you are going to do inside this in this string, so that will create a new string object. So if you are applying my underscore str dot capitalize, actually it is creating one string object. So I can write str underscore capitalize. Okay, is equal to this. Now if you will print str underscore capitalize, so this is the updated one. Okay, fine. And if you will print my underscore str, it is still the previous string object. It has not been changed. Clear, everyone? Fine. Now let's see the next method, case fold and lower method. Okay. Now case fold and lower method are both used to convert all the uppercase letters to lowercase letters. Both the methods are used for the same purpose. Okay, but case hold is more aggressive than lower function. Now, what do you mean by aggressive? So let's understand it with an example. Let's say we have a string my underscore str is equal to fine. Now let's say if I'll be applying print my underscore str dot lower, it will be converting everything into the lower case. Similarly, if I'll be applying case hold, this will also convert everything into the lower case. Fine. I'm getting this. Now, if you'll print my underscore str, it is as it is. Okay, this is as it is. There is no change in the my underscore str. Now, let's say we have another string my underscore str1 is equal to let's say this is the beta character. This is not B, this is beta, which is a German character. Okay. Now, if I'll be writing my underscore str1 dot lower, and if we are writing dot case hold, okay, execute this. So this beta in the Unicode, it is represented as double S in the smaller case. Okay, fine. But this beta is not represented in the ASCII character. So in ASCII table, you have only 128 values, starting from 0 to 127. Whatever keys you have on your keyboard, those all keys are available there. German characters, Sanskrit characters, Hindi characters, Malayalam characters, or German, French, Russian characters are not included into the ASCII table. But in the Unicode table, the different language characters are included. So German is one of them. So I have taken one German character, and if we are applying the lower method, so it is not able to convert because it works only with the ASCII value. It will be converting everything into the lowercase only which belongs to the ASCII. But if anything which belongs does not belong to the ASCII, case hold will be working in that case to convert it into the lowercase. Clear, everyone? Fine. That's why I say it is more aggressive. I hope this is clear. Now, next we have swap case. Okay. So what is this swap case method? Now, swap case method is used to swap the cases. Cases of the string, means upper into lower, lower into upper. So let's say if we have my underscore str1 is equal to this is Python class. Okay. Now let's say if I'm writing my underscore str1 dot swap case, they all are generating a new string object. Remember that. So now the cases are swapped using swap case method. Okay. Similarly, let's say we have upper method. So upper method converts every character into the uppercase. Okay. For example, if we are having my underscore str1 dot upper, so the one which are in uppercase that will remain as it is, but the one which are in lowercase that will be converted into the uppercase. Clear? Fine, everyone. Now the next one we have is the starts with and ends with. Okay. So let's see what is starts with and ends with. So these two methods are going to return me true or false. Returns true or false based on whether the string is starting or ending with a given substring. Okay. For example, let's say we have a string my underscore str1. Okay. So I'll be writing print my underscore str1 dot starts with. If I want to check whether it is starting with capital T, run this, it will be giving you true. It is starting with capital T. Now, whether it is starting with combination of characters, yes, it is starting with combination of characters, but not with the smaller case, so it is giving you false. Now, let's say if I'll be writing the same, but all in the capital letter, so yes, it is starting with that, it will be giving you true. Okay, you can control this also. For example, you want to check whether it is starting with IS from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th index. So I'll be writing my underscore str1 dot starts with, I'm checking whether it is starting with IS from where, from 5th index. So if I'll be running this, yes, it is starting. Let's say if I'll be writing whether it is starting with 0, 1, 2, 2 index. Yes, it is starting with 2 index. So this is also true because 0, 1 and this is 2, right? So it is starting with IS and it is also IS. So both are giving true. But let's say if I'll be writing 8, it will be giving me false. Okay. Fine, everyone. Now, similarly, you have the ends with method. So in the case of ends with method, you can write here ends with and you may change the string. So let's say whether it is ending with S, this will give you true. Whether it is ending with CLASS, yes, this is also true. Whether it is ending with CLASS, this is false. And I can also check whether it is starting with is from whether it is ending with F at the end, right? So for example, I will write here okay. So now if you will be executing it, so this is the okay. 5, so now if you will run this, let's comment this part, execute this. So first one, it is true, this is also true, this is false. And if you are checking this is, it is giving me true. Now if you are mentioning here, so what we are mentioning, whether it is having is character in this string and the end character is S, where the end character, where I mentioned 2 index, 5 and 7. So your index is starting at 5 and ending at 7. Clear? Fine. So I want to check at the end index, means this second index is the end index. So it will check at 7 minus 1, 6 index, whether we are having S or not. Okay. Now let's say if you will be writing here 0 and run this, so still it is giving you true. Why? So it is not checking whether your string is starting with is or not. It is checking whether the stop index which you have provided, that index minus 1, whether it is ending with S or not at that index. Clear, everyone? Is it clear? Ends with, starts with.
Yeah, Abhishek, do we have like in string method similar to what we have in Scala?
Sorry,
in string method, INSTR. Do we have that
no, in STR, that was the membership operation. No, we have done that.
No, INSTR, not in method. I'm just typing it here.
INSTR, I don't know. What is that method does?
This is for to find the location of the string.
Location, that is the different location, or you want to find the index, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So that we have, there is a different method for that. Okay, I will come to that. So I hope these all methods are clear to everyone, right? Now next, see the next set of method. These all methods are going to discuss either true or false value. Okay, so let's see all these methods.
You didn't told about a title method.
Is it? I miss it in every class. Where is the title method? I have deleted it. Okay, anyway, let's come. Title method, basically what it does. So title method returns a string where every first character of the word will be capitalized. Okay. For example, let's say we have print, my underscore str1 is equal to, this is Python class. Okay. Here, first letter is in small case, but all the letters are in the capital case. So let's see that. If you will be writing here my_str1 dot title. Okay. So the first letter will be capitalized. So if you will be executing it, the first letter is capitalized and of every word, and the rest all are converted into the smaller case. Clear, everyone? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Now let's come to these methods. So these all methods are going to return true or false based on the method. Okay. For example, if we are having S1 is equal to, we are having Python, S2 is equal to all the numbers, S3 is equal to Python 1, 2, 3, S4 is equal to Python, we have some special characters, and S5 is equal to let's take one Unicode character. Yeah. Okay. So let's see this. We are having print S1 dot is alnum. Okay. So is alnum function, is alnum returns true if letters are either alphabet or numeric or alphanumeric. Okay. So is alnum is going to be true. Let's say if I'll be writing S2 dot is alnum, this will also be true. Let's say if I'll be writing S3 dot is alnum, this will also be true. And if I'll be writing S4 dot is alnum, in that case it will be false. Execute this. So first three are true. Why? Because this is alphabet, this is numeric, this is alphabet, and special character, this is false. Okay, fine. Next we have is alpha. So what is this is alpha? So is alpha is checks whether the string is alphabet or not. Returns true if all characters are alphabet. Okay, fine. Else returns false. For example, if I am writing S1 dot is alpha, or I can also write S2 dot is alpha. Okay, so S1 is true, but rest all will be false. Okay. Next we have is ASCII. Is ASCII. So returns true if all characters are from ASCII table. Okay. For example, let's say if we are writing print S1 dot is ASCII. You can check with the S2. You can check with the S3, S2, S1, S2 both are done. S4. You may check with the S6 is equal to this one. So let's check with the S6. Okay, execute this. So in the case of all these things, true. Why? Because all these things are included into the ASCII table. But last one, this beta is not there, so it is giving you false. It is not the ASCII value. Okay. Now let's come to the is decimal, is digit, and is numeric. All these three functions are looks like similar, but there is a slight difference. Out of this, is numeric is different, but is decimal and is digit are similar. Okay, so they all returns true. For example, let's say returns true if all characters are numeric value. Okay, out of that, some function will check decimal, some function will check digit, some function will check is numeric. Okay, now let's say if I'm checking is a decimal. So in the case of if you are checking is digit, okay, so is only the is numeric function accepts Unicode, integers, subscript, superscript, fractions, Roman numerals, everything as the numeric value. Okay, so whatever numeric value you have, doesn't matter what representation you are in, or what representation you are using, or what format you are using, whether you are using Roman numerals or Unicode numerals or German numerals, it doesn't matter. If it is a number, then it will return you true in the case of numerals. But in the case of decimal, it should be a decimal value, and in the case of digit, it should be a digit value. Okay, so basically, if you will come to the decimal and digit function, so in the case of decimal and digit function, let's say if you will check this decimal. So let's take this. I'll be writing here S5. So first of all, let's check with the number. Okay, S2. S2 dot is digit. This is going to give you false. Sorry, true, because it is a digit, right? So S2 is digit. S2 is decimal and is numeric. Okay, this all will be true. Okay, why? Because it is a number. S2 is a number. Now let's come to this. Instead of S2, let's come to the S5. Execute this. So in this case, if you will check this, two functions are returning false and this is returning true. So this is a Unicode representation of a number. You just type in Google Unicode to number representation, and there you will get one converter. You just type this number, it will give you some number. Okay, so if you will check, it is in the digit and decimal, it is not accepting the other Unicode character or the other representation. They will also not accept the Roman numerals or the other representation. Okay, but is numeric. If it is a number, it will accept it in doesn't matter whatever representation it is. Okay, everyone, fine. Now, so the next function we have is identifier. So is identifier is going to return you true if it is a valid identifier. Returns true if it is a valid identifier. Okay, exception. Returns true if you will check for a keyword, but that is not a valid identifier. You should not take it. For example, let's say if I'm writing S1, okay, dot is identifier, this will return you true. Why? Because S1 is Python, it is accepted. Let's take S2. Sorry, not S1. This should be S1. So let's take S2. S2 is a number, so this is returning false. Number cannot be, unknown number cannot be identified. S3 is a number and numeric, so it is accepted, true, right? S4, special character, not allowed. If you take S4, that will be false. Okay. Now let's say if you are taking print, I'm taking a keyword if dot is identifier. Okay, this will return you true. Okay, whereas we have learned that the keyword should not be used as a identifier, right? So this is the exception. Clear? Now next you have is lower, is upper, and is title method. Is lower, is title, and is upper.
Abhishek,
Yes.
can you tell me why that line number 250 is returning false?
250.
Yeah.
250 is because it is only a number, no? Only a number cannot be an identifier. Number is allowed in the identifier, but that should be with the some other characters, okay, or some alphabet, okay, not only the number, but because that will become a value, right? Now, is lower, is title, is upper. So you know what is upper does, is lower does, and is title does. So according to their functionality, if string fits into that, then returns true, else it will return false. So I'm not going to discuss them again. I've already discussed what this method does. It will just return true and false. Next you have is printable and is space. Let's see these two methods. Now in the case of is printable, let's say if you have my underscore str1 is equal to this is Python class, okay, and you have my str2 where you have this backslash n, double backslash n, okay. Now if you are writing my underscore str comma my underscore str1, sorry, my underscore str1 and my underscore str1 dot is printable, okay, execute this and write this my underscore str2 and 2 dot is printable, execute this. If you'll execute this, so let's see, my underscore str1 when you are printing where you have kept only backslash n, it is printing the whole string into the 2 lines. So this backslash n is executed. It is not printed on the screen, it is executed and then it is printing a new line, okay, and then printing Python class. So since it is executable, so it is not printable. That's why is printable gives false in this case, my underscore str1, okay. But when you will see the output of my str2, in this case what happens? So in this case, if you will see the output, this backslash n is printed on the output screen because of this one more backslash character. We have skipped it. Since it is printing it, so this string is printable, okay. It is printing every character mentioned in that string on the output screen, screen. That's why we say it is printable. I hope this is clear.
So Abhishek, multi-line won't be printable.
So we are done with these all methods. Now let's come to the next set of methods. So next set of method we have is find, rfind, index, and rindex. Let's see all those methods. Okay. Now all these methods work similar. Okay. First, second, they all return the index of the substring you are looking for in a given string. Okay. So they all are going to return the index of the substring which you are looking for in a given string, okay, and index of the substring only the first occurrence, okay, fine, if this string is matched, fine. Now find and index methods are similar and does the search from left side, okay. Similarly, you have rfind and rindex, so they does the search, they work similar and they search the things from the right side, okay. The only difference between find and index is find returns -1 and index returns value error if substring is not found. Okay, let's see that. We have a string, let's say my underscore str is equal to let's say this is the string. Okay, now if you want to count how many times this p is repeating here, okay, so I'll be writing I want to find what is the first occurrence of the p. So I'll be writing my underscore str dot find, and I'm checking for p, so I'll be checking p, where the first occurrence of p. So I'll be writing my string dot find p. It will give me the index, first occurrence of this p in this string. What is the first occurrence of the small p? It is here. So it will be writing 0. Let's say if I want to check the first occurrence of the capital P, then I'll be checking the first occurrence of capital P. Here it is going to give me 21. So the index of this P is 21. So you can check with a single character. You can check with a group of characters also. For example, I want to check where this P, what is the first occurrence of PIC. Okay. So if you will be writing this, then in that case, it will be returning you. It will returning you the first occurrence of PIC. What is the first occurrence of PIC? PI you have, but PIC you don't have. You have PIC here and PIC here. 2 occurrence. Okay. So it will return the first occurrence, which is PIC from the left hand side, which is 12. So it will count. It will be coming the index of this P as 12. Okay. Fine. Clear. Now, similarly, you have rfind method. So if you will be doing it the rfind, then from the right hand side it will be looking for this group of character, and from right side this is the first occurrence. It will be in giving you the index of this p, small p. So it is 29, 21, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29. Okay. So it will be giving this p, index of this p. Okay. Now, let's execute this and check this with z. I'm writing z. This ZIC is not available. So now if you'll be running this, it will be giving you -1 in the case of find method or rfind method. Now let's see all these methods with the index. So everything is similar. Whatever we have got, everything is similar. Okay. Everything you are getting the same index, right? But the only difference is when it is not found, then it will be raising the value error. That's it. Clear, everyone? So this is the find and index method. I hope this is clear for everyone. We are going to the next set of methods.
This method is used in slicing operator. How?
Sorry?
This indexing is like this indexing method used for slicing operator.
No, this is no. This index only gives you the index. You are not going to slice it.
Slice it. How to use index in slicing?
Yes. So in index you can use in slicing you can use this method. Okay, to get the index of a character or group of characters. Okay. Fine. Now, yeah. So you can control your search also. For example, if let's say if I'll be writing this, so it is saying that start and end. So let's say if you want to check, let's say if you are looking for PIC, so what it gives 29. It is existing at 29. So now let's say if you are looking for this PIC, but not at the 29, let's say you are looking for it from 30th. So it will now do the search from 30th to the end. Okay. So first, first argument after this substring is always the start position. So it will go till the end, starting from 30. So it is finding this at 20. So after 30, it is not found, right? rfind I'm using. So let's do find. Execute this. So in the find, we are first getting pick as 12. And after, let's say after 12, after 15, I'm looking for it. So after 12, the next PIC is found at 29. Okay. So when you are running find without only pick without any start index, then it is giving you the first occurrence, which is 12. But now I am looking from 15 till the end, so it is giving the next occurrence. Okay, fine. Now similarly, you can do it with the let's say index method also. So here also you have start and end. Let's say you want to do this search from 15 but not till 29. Let's say you want to do till 28. So in that case, it is not found, so it will be returning you -1. Okay, fine, everyone.
Yes, Abhishek.
Okay, so now let's see this. So this is done. Now let's come to the find and index method is done. Next we have strip, R strip, and L strip. Okay, so strip method is mainly used to remove the unnecessary spaces from a string. Strip, R strip, and L strip. Okay, used to remove the unnecessary spaces from the string from either beginning, from either start or end, or from both. Okay, but not from in between the string. Okay, for example, let's say if you have my_str is equal to this is a string. Now I will be writing print my_str dot strip. It will remove the unnecessary spaces from the beginning or from the end, not from the strip. Will remove, this method will remove the spaces from both ends. Okay, so if you see, there is no space on the left hand side, there is no space even on the right hand side. So if I am selecting it, it is not going till it is not going after dot. Okay, so there is no space after dot, so it is not selecting it. Now same method you have L strip. So L strip will basically remove these spaces from left end. Okay, so if you run this, so you don't have any spaces on left hand side, but you have these spaces on the right hand side. And similarly, there is a R strip. So R strip removes these spaces from the right hand side. So it will you will be having this space on the left hand side if you are having in this string. Okay, clear? So this is what the strip method we have now. If you see, it is not removing any space from between the string. Okay, remember that. Now the next methods we are having here is, so strip is done, R strip, L strip is done, and strip method is also done. Okay, now next method we have is count method. Count method. Okay, now how this count method works? So count gives the total number of occurrences of a given substring. Okay, for example, let's say if we have this my_str, and you want to find the total count of small p, so you'll be writing print my_str dot count method, and you want to count small p. It will be giving you the total number 8 times. It is repeating here. Okay, small p is repeating 8 times. Okay, now if you want to check how many times pe is repeating, you can check that is repeating 4 times. You may check how many times pi is repeating, that is repeating 3 times. Okay, so these are the count method. You can also control this. For example, let's say if you want to check that how many times p is repeating, but between a range. For example, you want to check it from, let's say, 12. After 12 you want to check, so it will give you after 12 it is repeating 5 times. but in total string it is repeating how many times? 8 times. So if you remove 12, it is repeating 8 times, but after 12 it is repeating 5 times. You can also check between 12 and 15. So you can write here 12 and 15, it is repeating only 1 time. Okay, so this is the count method we have. Now next set of method we are going to discuss what is left. Format we have already discussed. Okay, format I have discussed yesterday in the format function, how you can do the formatting of a string. Now next let's come to the replace method, split, else split, and join. Okay, so let's come to these methods. Split, else split, and the join method. Before that, let's discuss the replace method. Okay, what is the replace method? Replaces the old string with new string. Okay, for example, let's say you have my_str dot replace. You want to replace all the occurrences of p, which is the old string, with, let's say, new string. You want to replace it with z, capital Z. Now if you will be running it, so it will be creating a new string. Wherever p you were having, it is replaced with capital Z. Wherever small p you were having, everywhere it is replaced with the capital Z. I hope it is clear, right? My_string dot replace method. Okay, fine. Now you can also mention that how many replacement you want. For example, let's say how many p occurrences were there? 8. You want only 4 replacements. So only 4 times z will be replaced from the beginning. Okay, not the other one. Clear? Now next one is split, else split, and join. Okay, split, right split, we have not else split. R split, right? R split, correct. We don't have else split, so just remove, and remove, and okay. So R split. Now what is split method? Let's say you have this string my_str. Okay, my_str. Now what I want you to do is, I want to give me a list of words. List of words. How you can do that? So you'll be writing my_str dot split. If you'll be using this split function, it splits this sentence from the spaces. Wherever you have a space, from there that string will be splitted, and from the beginning till that space, that word will be taken as a one element of the list. Then again from that space to the next space, the whole word will be taken as a new element of that list. Again from this space to next space, this word will be taken as a new element of the list. So basically this split function returns a list of words. Okay, execute it, you are getting this. Clear? So now let's see, from the beginning till this space, this is the whole word, one element. From this space till this space, this is whole word, this is one element. From this space till this space, this is one word, this is one element. From this space till this space, this is one element, so this is one element. Correct? So this is how this is splitted. Okay, now if you will not mention any argument, by default this separator will be taken as a space attribute, means this thing will be splitted from this space. Let's say if I want to split from the p, then what will happen? So in that case, let's say if you will be writing print my_str dot split of p, execute this. So now see, from p you have to split. So before p, do you have any string? No. So you are getting one empty string as an element. From this p, what is the next p? This is the next p. So from here to here, there will be one element. You are getting one element till space. Then after this p, what is the next p? This p. So you have I as one element. After this P, what is the next P? This P. So ER space is one element. Then after this P, what is the next P? This P. So starting from I till here, these all things are going to be one element and so on. So you have splitted this thing from P. Clear, everyone? Fine. Now, how can I join the string? Okay. So this is the split method, and R split method, basically it does the splitting from the right hand side. R split method. Okay. Similar to this split. Okay. So what I'll be doing here, I'll be using print my underscore str dot R split. Execute this, it will be splitting from the right hand side. Okay. Fine. Now, next one is join method. So let's say if you want to join a, okay. So join method is only method which the syntax for the join method is different from whatever syntax we have learned now. So the syntax of join method is, actually join method, let's see what, for what purpose it is used. Used to join a list of words, okay, with a separator. Okay. Now the syntax of the join method is what? First of all, you need to mention the separator. With what separator? Let's say this is the list of words. You want to join these words, right? By what separator you want? So you, by default, you have a space between the sentence, right? Let's say if you want double colon or single colon, right? So in that case, you have to mention that separator. Then after that, dot join method, and here you have to pass list. Okay. Now let's come to this. So we have my underscore lst is equal to my underscore str dot split. Okay. Now if you'll print my underscore lst, this is the list, correct? Now you want to join this list back together, so you'll be writing here separator you want between that is a space character. Let's say you want a space, so you'll be writing a space dot join, and here you'll be writing my underscore lst. Execute this, you will be getting a whole string which is joined by a space character from this list. Okay. Now let's say you want this separator to be a double colon, then you can mention double colon. You can see this string is joined by the double colon instead of a space. Let's say you want let's say arrow, so you can write an arrow here. So this is joined by an arrow. Okay. So you can use this separator according to your choice. Fine. So these all are the methods. Now rest all method you can just check from your end. These all methods are not of that much importance. Probably you can check the partition, R partition. So these all are the methods. Probably you'll be getting the assignment and you can check. So let's say if you want to check what is the syntax of any method, that is very simple. You just go ahead and you are applying on this string, right? You just write one string, let's say hi. Okay, and then write the method. Let's say you want to apply the center method. So you'll be writing center and then press a shift tab here. Okay. So execute this, press shift tab. What happened? Center method we have right here. Let's take sorry, yeah, my underscore str dot center. Don't use print. Okay. Now if you'll be using this without print, if you'll be pressing shift tab, okay, shift tab, okay, then in that case what will happen, it will give you this definition of that method. That is the built-in property of the Jupyter Notebook. It gives you this definition. Now I can check width. Now you can check what it return a centered string of the length width. Okay, fine. For example, let's say if you want width to be 200. So now if you'll be checking this, so there are total how many characters? There are total 45 characters, right? So 200 minus 45, these many spaces divided by 2 you have in the beginning, and rest all you have here. So the total length, if you'll find here, let's say if you'll find this, the total length. Okay, so length. So the total length you are getting as 200. So basically one string you have, and you are, increasing the length of that by putting the spaces. So let's say if you want the fill character to be a star, then you can write here star. So now if you will check this output, so wherever you have these spaces, now it is filled by the star. So this way you can use this method and you can learn it on your own. Clear, everyone? Clear, guys? Any
Yes,
questions?
Abhishek.
Abhishek, I have a question. Can you go a bit up in line number 314?
314, yes.
Yeah, just here. So split and R split gives the same result, right?
Yeah, they will be giving you the same result. The only difference is that, let's say if you are doing the, let's say if you will check this method, the difference you have here is returns a list of the words in the string using separator as the delimiter string. Yeah, so let's say if you are doing split function here, my underscore str dot split. Okay, you want it by a space, so you will mention here a space. Here also you want it by a space, you want a space. But here you want what you have max split. Max split, let's say you want only 3 splits. Okay, so it will be doing it from the left hand side. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
It will be doing it from the left hand side, and you will be getting the 3 splits, 1, 2, 3, and the rest all are coming here. Clear?
Okay.
Fine. But if you will do it using R split and you want only 3 splits, then it will be doing from the right hand side. Clear? So from the right hand side, 1, 2, 3, and this is the rest of the things are coming here.
Okay. And Abhishek, I do not remember the format method. I don't think we had that in strings.
Not in this thing I have discussed yesterday. Output formatting, string formatting, taking the input from the user.
Yes.
Not yesterday. 1 minute. Let me show you.
Abhishek, need to remember the same. It's like we didn't do with the formatting.
Okay. For the output. Yes.
Forget about the output. Remove this. This is also the string formatting, no?
Okay.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
also the string formatting now, right?
Understood. Remember this. Thank you.
Okay, Abhishek.
Okay. So this is it for today. Now we'll meet tomorrow, and we'll start with your assignment on this string, class assignment, and then we will move to the next topic. Okay. Any question, guys?
Abhishek, one question.
Yes.
So while you do print statement, right? So you are using comma as a concatenation with a variable. So, but you said for concatenation we can use plus symbol. So is there any difference?
No, that is not the concatenation. See, print is basically you cannot write only the string value. You can write any value. This is just the printing the value and separated by space. So check my third class. Okay, there I have shown you that print is a function which can take multiple arguments, and what is the use of it? So you can see the output on this screen. Okay, so whatever you will be writing here, those all values will be printed on the screen. By default, there will be a space coming in between them. But let's say if you have a two string, you are writing Python, and if you are doing plus class. Okay, so if you will be doing the concatenation operation between them, so this will be, you can see there is no space between them, right? What it is doing, and also it is not printed if you are not using the print function here. Let's see here. So it is printing only 10, 20, 30. It is not printing Python class. Okay. So why? Because you are not using print statement. So you have to use print function here. Okay, and then execute it. So now it is printing Python class. But again, now this is the concatenation. This operation is not the concatenation. This is just placing the value on the output screen as it is. The only difference is here now you will be having a space character instead of a comma.